Hello and welcome to Swamponomics TV on LibertyNation.com. I am Andrew Moran, Liberty Nation's economics correspondent. We have a special series for you in which we speak to noted author Mr. Stephen Moore, a former member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board, member of the Trump and Reagan administrations, and author of Swamponomics. In our first segment, we discuss how the U.S. economy performed in the first year of President Joe Biden's term and how the Federal Reserve handled the pandemic economy. Enjoy. To help us go on a trip over the last 12 months and begin a new journey into the next 12 months, please welcome as special guest Mr. Stephen Moore, the former member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board and distinguished visiting fellow at the Institute for Economic Freedom. Welcome, sir.
Thanks so much for having me, Andrew. Great to be with you.
Thank you. So right out of the gate, what do you think of the United States economy out of President Joe Biden? Despite the myriad of economic crises facing his administration, has the White House and Democrats done anything right this year?
Not much. I mean, it's sad to say. I mean, I feel like, having worked for Trump, I'm a little biased, but I think we created one of the best economies that the nation has really ever have seen in recent times, with the record low unemployment, record low poverty rates, big wage gains for average middle class working families. We had the economy really all systems were go, and obviously COVID threw a wrench in a lot of the economic gains that we had made. But even there, we had the vaccine that had been developed through Operation Warp Speed. And, by the way, the boom happened under Trump largely because we cut tax rates, we deregulated the economy, we promoted American energy, and we put America first. We put the interests of American workers and business first. What a concept, right, for a president. And Biden has come in and really reversed a lot of those policies. We've seen massive increases in debt spending. We've seen a gigantic increase in the regulatory state, which may be the most damaging of all. The government just sticking its finger in every business decision, whether it's the people at the FTC regulating mergers and acquisitions, whether it's the EPA shutting down energy projects, whether it's the regulators of our financial sector that are trying to clamp down on banking and investment. So I'm very troubled by the direction of things, and it didn't take long for the prosperity we saw to really be jeopardized. We're now seeing inflation rates higher than we've seen in 30 years. I'm really concerned about what's happened with the number of workers that are leaving the labor force, creating real problems of people willing to collect welfare checks and government benefits rather than working. That's a real problem for the economy going forward.
So now that the Federal Reserve is tapering the pandemic-era monetary expansion, how do you think the U.S. Central Bank has handled the pandemic and the post-COVID economy? And based on Fed Chair Jerome Powell's pivot on inflation, essentially retiring the term transitory, did Powell get it entirely wrong on this front?
Well, the Fed has been behind the curve for now 6 to 9 months on dealing with this inflation problem. And it's almost like they had their head in the sand on seeing what American people saw every single day, right? Which was that the prices of gasoline, the price of food, the price of travel, all of these things were going up in price. And yet the Fed was saying, oh, it's transitory. Well, the Fed kept changing their tune. First, they said there is no inflation. Then when inflation emerged, they said it was transitory. And then, they said, well, okay, maybe it's not transitory, but, it's not harmful. Well, now we're just seeing that, the inflation problem is a tax. It's a tax on the American people. It's also what I call the cruelest tax. It's a tax that affects lowest income people the most. When you pay $1.25 more a gallon to fill up your tank, you're talking about somewhere in the neighborhood of $20 every time you fill up your tank. Now, if you're a millionaire or billionaire, $20 to fill up your tank more than you're paying is just a minor inconvenience. But for people living paycheck to paycheck, that's a real financial strain. And so I think the Fed has finally declared that they're worried about inflation, but so far I haven't seen policies to combat it. I think it's absurd that the Fed continues to purchase tens of billions of dollars a month of mortgage-backed securities. Why in the world are we continuing to subsidize the housing industry when everywhere in the country housing prices are up? Didn't they learn any of the lessons from the last bubble that was created by, easy money. So I hope the Fed starts to take a corrective action. It's too soon to tell.
Thank you for watching. In our next segment, Stephen Moore will be talking about the US debt ceiling debate and the political theater surrounding this sensitive issue. Thank you.
Who are we? We are Americans that believe in liberty. We are a project of the nonprofit One Generation Away. We are patriots who apply the founding principles to the issues of today.
And they keep moving the goalposts on us.
We are educators and commentators who love America and the Constitution. Who are we? We are Liberty Nation.